What is up, guys? My name is Daniel, and this is a VGN tutorial. Now, you may have watched the other tutorial about how to make your consoles and system faster, and this is basically in the same ballpark. But here's a spoiler alert. I'm really bad at talking, so please stick with me here. Spoiler alert. This one is serious. I decided, since VGN, Video Game Nostalgia, I can't even say that right. Pretty bad that I can't even say my own company's name. It's not really a company, but anyway. I decided, why not help people learn how to make video games a little. I'm not a master at this, even though I have read Mastering Unreal Technology. I wouldn't say that I'm a master yet. So, moving on. I'm going to assume that you already have UDK downloaded and installed. If not, there's a link in the description to download it. Just download the newest version. The newest, all you can get is beta for free. It's completely free. And install it. I always install with all of the normal stuff. So if you're on Windows, it's just next. I hear you can do UDK in Mac these days, so that is pretty exciting. So if you're a Mac user and there's some different way to install it, then tell me about it and I will find a way to make a tutorial on how to do that. Anyway, open up your UDK, and this is just going to be sort of an intro, and I'm going to show you how to move around in the perspective viewport. And, I'll show you a little bit on all of the viewports. So, and the next tutorial I'll show you what most of the buttons do. Anyway, you will usually open up to the content browser like this, and usually you'll, by default, you'll have a tip of the day. I always turn that off. You can if you want, it doesn't matter. But for now, let's close this out, and you should have something that looks kind of like this. Now, this is pretty awesome, but not very exciting. So first, let me show you how to move around in this viewport. Now, there's two different ways. One is you can use, if you have it active, that is, you can use that's S, W, S, A, and D. I'm sure you've played a first-person shooter. If not, you are going to have a really rough time with this. Okay? Now, practice that for about 3 days, and when you're a master, then you can move on. Of course, I'm just kidding. I'm not funny, so don't tell me that I'm not funny, because I know that already. Now, another way, take your mouse, the thing you move around with, thing you click on things with, okay? This thing that's moving. Take your mouse, and first I'll show you the right click. Hold down the right button, your right mouse button, and move around a bit. And no matter which way you move, it's just sort of a perspective movement. You can only if you were a person's head, you can only move this person's head here. Okay? Now, left click, you move like this, and it's like shaking your head no. Or if you pull up, it's like moving up. If you pull down, it's like going backwards, okay? Now, if you have a scroll wheel, if you're not on a laptop, most laptops have scroll wheels now, I know that. You can zoom in and out. Now, this is different from holding down the left click and moving up and down, because this moves you on the plane, okay? And this moves you to and from wherever the basically invisible middle part is. So if you're looking down at that cube and you scroll up, you kind of go up a little. Okay, hopefully you can tell the difference with that. Now another thing is holding down both left click and right click and moving around, and you go up and down. So if one hand's busy, you can move around all on just your mouse. You can move up like this, and then move forward like this, and you can scroll in, and everyone can be happy. Now if you have both hands, it is quite awesome to use both your mouse and keyboard to move around. WAS and D, and your everything on your mouse, unless you have one of those like crazy 17 button mouses. I don't know the right one for that, because okay, let's pretend I'm not an idiot for a second. Alright, now hopefully you have mastered moving around in this viewport, and if you haven't, just pause this video and just move around a bit. It's a lot of fun. I hear some people download UDK just to move around in the viewports. Okay, now to get to your other viewports, there's a few different things you can do, like click on this, or you can click on this button here, and you get your four different viewports here. Your side, front, top, and perspective. And whichever one's highlighted in this yellow is your active viewport. The movement for these viewports here are basically the same. As you can see, zoom in and out. Except if you hold down left click and move up and down, that's just moving that like that. Basically to zoom in and out on that, you have to hold both of your buttons down. Now, by default, all of them zoom in together, the wireframe ports, and that's actually really awesome for when you're trying to get really precise movements. Like if you want to move this just a couple blocks to one side, it's not perfect. You may have to move this a bit, but yeah. Okay. Another thing I'm going to show you on this tutorial is the measuring tape. If you hold down the middle mouse button, if you push it down, the scroll wheel, and you move it over, it'll tell you exactly how many units it is. See, that's 256. And that comes in handy when you are trying to get... Well, it comes in handy a lot, but one example is when you are trying to split something in half, or place a static mesh. If you don't know what a static mesh is yet, that's fine. We'll go over it some other time. But yeah, that's just your little measuring tape, which is extremely handy. Sorry, I have a lot of fun measuring these things out. So, another thing I want to go over is this here, the camera movement speed. Now, if you click it, you go faster. Depending on how high the blue box is, depends on how fast you go there. There are 4 levels there. For smaller things, you will most likely just keep it at the bottom. And then as you get into bigger things like terrain, you'll have it up higher. Another thing is I'm just going to go over these 4 for right now. Brush wireframe, which will show you can come in here and select your brushes. Then just regular wireframe, which you can select your brushes still, but they're not as easy to edit in geometry mode. Then there's unlit, which basically turns all of your lighting off and just gives you a really bland lighting system that actually won't work in game, but it takes out a lot of the nice highlights that lighting gives you. And this is, of course, lit mode. And this produces your light on the scene and everything. Now, real time and I usually keep real-time off. And all that does is if you have any particle systems or anything that moves in your game, real-time will let it move in your viewport. If you turn that off, it's nice and static. There is no movement. It runs faster if you have a slower computer. And then there's enables game view, which makes it look, if you turn both real-time and game mode on, that just gives you basically exactly what you will see in game mode while you're in game. Let's see what else. There's these other things which post-process. Whenever we get into that, it will show you anything for the post-process. And there's also this play and viewport, which I actually find very awesome. You can actually play your level, run around in it, jump, do whatever you can actually do in the viewport. Now, you can also go up here and play. Now, that button there only works if you have, where is it at? A player start. That's player start right there. And another thing you can do, which I will be doing a lot, is right-click and click play from here. And wherever you click, that's where your character will start out, your player. And then, of course, you can just hit escape and it'll close out. Now, that's it for this tutorial. Next tutorial, I'll be going over some of these buttons here. And it'll be lots of fun. And it'll be very exciting. And soon you'll be able to make your own video games. I'm Daniel, and please be sure to subscribe. Bye.